Crash Course Live is presented by
Smash It Demolition Derby, who host Bash for Cash, Blizzard Bash, and Capital City Carnage. Online at smashitderby.com. And Stirring Dirt Racing, host of Maymania's team show at the Golden Spike Arena in Ogden, Utah. Online at stirringdirtracing.com.
Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel and Derby Inc. Magazine. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, recorded live at the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. And now your host, Chris Marquardt.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast. We are live from the FingerLakes1.com studios here in the North Park building at Academy Square, where it is as warm inside as it is outside. The third floor of a school built in 1934 apparently was not the most insulated. It is about 40 degrees here inside the studio, and we are in for a long winter ahead if we're going to be streaming like this week in and week out. Brian already chiming in with some witty one-liner regarding the cold. I assume it's some sort of I need to get fatter joke. Go ahead.
But if there's some sort of fallout, we are safe from it.
We are safe. Yes, we will be safe. We've got a fun show on deck for everybody tonight. We've got Jason Koch, who is already waiting in the wings to talk about the second annual Memorial Turkey Derby, an event that is close, near to dear to his heart, being hosted in conjunction with Get Her Done. We're going to be talking with Candice Jo as Candice released Domination Motorsports, which is going to be taking on a summer/fair schedule next year, pretty much mirroring what Ultimate Derby was last year. And then we're going to be wrapping it up talking with one Jared Brown, who made his first start at Blizzard Bash. And we wanted to catch up with him because we all know that people have different ways of dealing with stress and pressure, and he had a very unique way of juggling the intensity of getting ready for Blizzard Bash. That'll be fun. We'll be talking with him, maybe 45 minutes or so. First and foremost, want to extend a happy birthday to Tim Clark. He had a birthday over the weekend, and happy riding to Russ Clark, who you saw the pictures of the new Harley Davidson that he recently purchased. Yeah, it was a good-looking bike, real good-looking bike. I wouldn't be caught dead on one because I would almost guaranteed wreck it.
Yeah, because you can't drive a car.
No, it's bad enough on four wheels, let alone making it two. I can scarcely manage a bike. Real quick sidebar before we move forward. We have a note here from Cora Wire. She wants to extend her gratitude to everybody at Bash for Cash and all the generosity to the family, everybody who helped the family get there, all the local stars that helped make the Tegan's week, really. I mean, front to back. Team Kansas guys, they donated another $1,000 after the win to the medical bills. There was over 150 shirts and T-shirts and 20 hats that they ended up coming home with. Not to mention everything else. The roof signs that he's. Did you see the Mad Dog Iowa group, Brad Witt's crew, put together a complete RC car with batteries, with controllers, and a gray body with JYD down the side, and that went home with them.
That's awesome.
So that was
cool.
That was pretty cool. Let's see. Well, you're going to hear some beeping momentarily because Waterloo Central School is trying to get a hold of me. But turning our attention to the Tygert Memorial Derby, Jason Koch joining us on the line. Jason, how are you?
I'm great, Chris. How are you guys doing?
We're doing okay. So the Memorial Derby coming up in Greensburg, Indiana, going to be on the 25th of November. It's held as a benefit for the family of Tim Tygert. Tell us a little bit more about the Derby.
It's like you said, it's this coming Saturday the 25th. It's Saturday following Thanksgiving, so when you're tired of your family, come on out. But it's basically put together. It's a show that Tim did for years, and then we've basically tried to group everybody together and keep it going. Benefits go to his daughter Haley's college fund, so on and so forth. So that's our driving factor. We all want to try to do for her what he would have wanted to do. So we try to make sure we keep it in the spirit of the way he wants it, and we tell everybody at the drivers' meeting, same thing he always did. Name of it's get her bent. We expect everybody to do so, and I'm pretty sure anybody that watched it last year would say that it's one of the hardest hitting derbies they've probably ever watched, because all the heats are. I mean, when they drop the green flag, everybody goes nuts until they run out of car, and it's that way from the first heat of the night to the last heat of the last feature of the night. It's definitely one to watch.
Tell us a little bit more about Tim himself and his involvement with the Demolition Derby as a whole, and how this whole thing unfortunately came to pass the way that it is right now.
Well, I mean, Tim's life basically revolved around Demolition Derby. That was kind of our thing. We, as a team, we used to run 30, 35 shows a year, and that's he would haul me all over the world doing so, and we ran all of the mayhems and that sort of thing back in the day, and he just absolutely loved it and lived for it, and everything he went into it. He owned his own signographic shop, and used to do all the signage for all the cars on the teams and that sort of thing, and it's just anybody that knew Tim knew that he was going to be in a purple Hoosier hat and a black T-shirt, and the last couple of years, for whatever reason, he switched over wearing a black Gator bent hat, but that's about the only thing that never really changed. His life basically revolved around Demolition Derby and everything to do with it. I mean, he didn't really do a whole lot outside of it. I mean, he would go to the racetracks on the weekends if we weren't derby, and he'd go watch a race or something. But outside of that, I mean, that's just what he did.
Right.
So, and that's the spirit that we tried to keep everything in.
And how tough was it to pick up the Derby and get it to advance? I mean, it seems like the first year following, last year's following that you had a huge response. There was tons of attention focused on it, and it was almost turnkey. Everybody wanted to be part of that one.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I don't want to say it was easy. I don't want to take anything away from the crew, obviously, because
Sure.
everybody works their tail off to make it happen. But there were two types of people in the Derby community, and you either absolutely loved Tim or you absolutely hated Tim. And fortunately, most people absolutely loved him. And there was a huge outpour for support when we brought it up. He had always asked me. Funny enough, he'd always asked me to worry about the county fair. His big worry was always the Howard County Fair. That was his baby. And his big thing when he got sick was, hey, will you please take care of the fair for me? And and of course we do. We do the fair show in mid-July. But we put our feelers out pretty short notice last year. Hey guys, this is what I want to do. I want to keep Tim's show going. I want to grow it into this very big monster. And everybody's like, yeah, that's a freaking awesome idea. Let's do it. And next thing you know, everybody's involved, and practically every name in the Demolition Derby world is in some way tied to the Turkey Derby now, and it's fantastic. I absolutely love it. I love the support from everybody.
How tough is drawing on that Saturday after Thanksgiving in that part of the country?
How tough is what? I'm sorry?
How tough is drawing attendance and drawing car count on that weekend? I mean, certainly it's for a great cause, but it still overlaps a little bit of that Thanksgiving time. The people that are tried and true Demolition Derby fans that eat, breathe, sleep it, the needle's jammed in their arm and it's broke off, they're never going to skip the opportunity to go to a Demolition Derby. But then you've got the casual fans that might say, oh, it's cold, it's late, we've seen enough Derby, we're watching football, we're going hunting, etc. How tough is it to draw that market and get those middle of the road fans out to a Demolition Derby that part of the year?
It's not as hard as what it seems.
Yeah.
Simply because it is the Turkey Derby, and everybody that's ever been to one knows that they're going to watch stuff get absolutely destroyed all day long, and that's the biggest drawing factor for the crowd. Obviously, is they know they're not going to sit there for 45 minutes waiting on the cars to dwindle down to the last three where somebody's going to get wound up. I mean, you go to the Turkey Derby, you're going to watch neck snap from the first green flag to the last checkered flag. There is no setting the pace. It's just when you start to count down from 5, by the time you get to 3, half the cars are already jumped. So I mean, it's a very aggressive, hard hitting show, and it draws a lot of attention for that very reason.
Love the sounds of that.
Absolutely.
If you like what you're hearing, you can jump on DerbyNation.tv. Derby Tease is going to be producing this one. It's going to be airing at 1:30 Central Time, or excuse me, 1:30 Eastern Time on Saturday. That is the first of 3 weeks worth of derbies that crew is going to be doing. They're going to be at the Winter War Zone Indoor Derby. That one is in the Walter State Expo Center on Saturday the 2nd, and then on the 27th of January, they're going to be back indoors for the Redneck Rumble, all those on DerbyNation.tv. So if you want to see the action from the Turkey Derby, it's coming up right around the corner on Saturday. It's interesting that you're saying that it's so easy. I don't want to use the word easy. So there's already a built-in market there that the casual fans are willing to come out because they're ready to see the carnage. This show is not a cleanup show. There's new cars that are being built specifically for this event.
Yeah, absolutely. And it started out life as a cleanup show back in the day, but it's I've had a lot of drivers tell me in the last 2 weeks that Turkey Derby used to be a show that we went to if we had enough left over at the end of the year and put something together. Now it's one when they're planning their summer, they put it on their spring schedule that, hey, we're definitely around the Turkey Derby and we got to have this car for there and this setup for that. And, I don't know how closely everybody's followed, but, this year it made a huge leap forward because Adam Williams decided to get involved and done a big raffle and donated $2,000 to the winning purse for the Pro Mods, making it a $5,000 to win instead of $3,000 to win, and it just blew up. Anybody that was on the fence on whether or not they were or weren't going to come was like, man, it's $5,000. Hell yeah, I'm coming. Of course I'm going to be there. So,
is there a car? Is there a car count limit? Is there a limited number of entries, or is that open?
It's open. The facility's huge. The track's a monster. And if we need to run heats, we will. Last year we started 38 Pro Mods.
Oh my God.
For the feature. So it's a very big track. There's room to go bigger if we have to. It's it's at the fairground where they do the track pulls. So I've got 350 plus feet to work with right now. We're set up 300 feet one way, 200 feet the other. And if we need to go, we can go 100 foot longer if we need to. So we can fit some cars.
Can you imagine $5,000 Pro Mod cars, 40 of them going at it for $5,000 at one time?
Jason, you got the run fixed on your bash car. I'll come down and run that for you.
If I had it fixed, I would probably have it there for a raffle car. But we have been so swamped that I haven't even opened the door on my trailer. I haven't taken a single thing out of the trailer. I've done nothing.
Well, if the crew gets it fixed, let me know. I'll bring my helmet and come down, and I'll have a good time.
Yeah, there's a really, really strong chance that there will definitely be a raffle car involved next year. So look forward to that too. We really would have liked to have done one this year, but as most of you know, the Blizzard Bash thing kind of come up short notice. So everything was really, really, really tight this year. But we're making it, so it's it is what it is.
So we're sort of on the subject now. What was after you got the bugs out of your fuel system? What was your opinion on your first Blizzard Bash experience?
Oh, I absolutely loved it. Like I said, like you said, the first round was a huge embarrassment. I never, ever, ever have running issues. I honestly can't remember in the last 25 years the last time I had a car that wouldn't run. So I literally wanted to crawl under the bleachers and hide after the first round. Everybody's like, "Oh, you can't drive this, that, and everything." I'm like, "Oh, it's so embarrassing." but yeah, I absolutely loved it. The feature was really going well. I was loving the team aspect. People that have followed me over the years know that when I'm really having fun is when I'm really, really working. Back in the days of South Bend Speedway, Plymouth Speedway, that kind of stuff, 5 sticks on one, that's my idea of fun. So, when Brockway was pinned down and I'm driving down into the crowd of 8 that were pinning him down to try to work him loose, I was having a blast. That's the most fun I've had in a really, really long time in a demo car.
Bobby seemed really popular. It seemed like there was a lot of guys who were interested in him in that feature.
Well, he's Bobby Brockway. You leave him alone, he's going to take your money. And he proved that last year by taking a complete piece of garbage all the way to the end.
Absolutely.
So, they made a point not to make that mistake 2 years in a row. And numbers are everything out there. There were several teams that were linked up. We were kind of the odd men out. We didn't have anybody there to link up with that was a definite this is the end situation. So yeah, we had our hands full, and Bobby definitely had a lot of attention.
Yeah, he was definitely popular.
Bobby last year took that turd out, but thankfully Jason was the one polishing it.
Yeah,
right?
Jason had a lot of time and energy in that car.
Yeah, there's that.
How did that Blizzard Bash game come together, and is it going to happen again next year? It looked like you fit pretty well with that team.
I hope so. I haven't been told. I hope so. I think we meshed really well. You guys seen some videos that Josh was doing in the pits and whatnot. I mean, in the pits, we were basically a crew of 30, and there wasn't my guys on my car and Bobby's guys on Bobby's car and Ryan's guys on Ryan's car. There wasn't none of that. There was 30 of us, and we were on where we were needed. And when one car got done, if you were working on that car, you went to the next car. You know what I mean? It worked really, really well. I was really proud of the outcome. As far as after that first round, our cars were so tore up. We drew such a hard first round, and of course, with my car not running, they had to do all the work, and I just sat there getting pommeled. So my car was really tore up too. So, just simply making to the second round was an absolute accomplishment in itself. We did get really lucky to draw the second round that we did. I hate to wish bad on anybody, but the other cars that, only one of the other team coming out, that was definitely a lifesaver for us, because that give us time to finish the work that we clearly couldn't get done after the first round. I mean, it would have been a very, very, very hard fight had we drawn another hard team the second round, just because, there wasn't one of the four cars that were perfect.
Yeah.
I don't think in the second round on either side of the bracket there was all four cars that were perfect.
No, and that's the thing too. I mean, if WRP is full power, that's a pretty tough draw.
Yeah.
I mean, those guys have really started to open people's eyes. I mean, Kenny Rosano put on a hell of a show, and Daniel Ort's a great driver, and Hoffmeister, Svingen drove right. I mean, Svingen did a great job in the B main. He was right down there towards the end. I mean, that's a team that's really come on strong.
Yeah, they're absolutely a phenomenal team. And like you guys just said, if they hadn't had the transmission issues they had, that would have definitely been another one of the teams to watch, another one of the heats to watch. I mean, everybody talks about, our first round was definitely one of the most exciting things to watch of the weekend because it was so rough. Well, the second one would have been just like it had they had, transmissions in their cars, because it would have, as you guys said, Rosno and those guys are no joke, and it would have been a bloodbath. We got very fortunate that things worked out the way it did. And Brandon drove his tail off in the feature to get us to the fourth place that we did end up. A lot of things fell in place, a lot of things didn't. I mean, I don't know that I've ever seen a retainer ring on an axle break before, so I'm going to chalk that one up as I've apparently offended the Derby gods, so we'll have to hit church a couple times to see if we can't straighten that out.
Well, that was the thing is we couldn't tell what had happened to your car, and all of a sudden they stopped and they're rolling a tire off with an axle sticking off it. And the only time I've ever even heard of a 40 spline axle getting broke was at where did we go in Pennsylvania? It's got the big U tires around it and the big stands behind us.
Brookville?
Yeah. I remember Todd Siopa got full tracked by a suicide Lincoln in it. I can't remember if it broke it or just bent it, but that was a 40 spline. That's the only time I'd heard of a 40 spline. And then
earlier in the weekend, Ben had said, I'd made a reference that it looked like one of the wheels wasn't spinning as fast as the other side on one of the cars, and we talked about taking hits square and the importance of axle savers and stuff, and is it possible that you're wasting a shot by doing a nose-up shot on a rear wheel in an effort to try and get through wheels, tires, axles? And Ben says, you'll never break an axle here, which tradition has shown that doesn't happen. So when that came apart, immediately Ben leaned over and he goes, it had to have seized somehow and wrapped around the spline, and the spline itself is where it snapped. And then we found out it was the ring. So Ben was right. You're not going to see a broken axle.
And that was the thing.
And the axle was absolutely flawless. There's not a scratch on it. I mean, the lock ring where it was attached to the axle, where the axle was still attached, it just the ring itself actually shattered, and the axle just slid right out of the bearing. I mean, the bearing, all the bearing retainer, everything is all still in place, and the axle inside the axle they were absolutely spotless. I mean, the only thing that broke is the ring shattered and it slid apart. Never seen anything like it before in my life.
crazy. We were talking with Ryan afterwards, and he said that Brandon's car ran out of fuel. He was pretty shocked by that.
Well, it was crazy, and we don't want to point fingers because, obviously it's not always somebody else's fault when something goes wrong. But we put 12 gallon of fuel in his car to go to the feature and ran less than 30 minutes. You don't, that wasn't a 12 gallon feature. So
that's
something went awry there. We don't know what, we don't know how. There's a lot of things that could have happened.
Didn't they
but,
stop?
It's a 2-barrel Rochester setup, so it didn't use 12 gallon of fuel.
No.
So
did they
so
stop?
we're not sure. Yeah.
Did they stop the feature once and check Brockway's car for a fuel leak?
I'm not real sure. They might have been checking to make sure his head was still in the helmet the ride he was taking.
No, they.
I was going to say. I mean, perhaps there was some.
No, it wasn't. They
there.
didn't stop for that.
No.
But yeah, that was strange. We were talking with Ryan afterwards, and he said it ran out of fuel, and that's rare out there. I mean, that doesn't.
Yeah.
I mean, with a 2G,
Yeah,
I mean,
we're a little unsure of what happened there because, like I said, it's we know it was full, so. When they locked us down and said, hey, you guys got to quit working on the cars, we know it was full because we had a process where everything was not only done but double checked and sealed and signed, and so we know it was done,
yeah.
But it was just a matter of what happened. Did it develop a leak at some point? Did it get tampered with at some point? Nobody knows, and you don't want to say that somebody messed with me because you don't know that. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't, but something went awry, so it ran out of fuel.
There were some strange things going on because I know which heat was it, Chris, where somebody got all their spark plug wires tore off, and they ended
DMP.
up. Yeah,
it was DMP's car. Yeah.
So there was definitely some shenanigans
and they come
going
to
on.
us before the feature. Like literally, we're all getting ready to go to the feature, and the officials come around and told us to grab impacts and check all our lug nuts because they found cars that the lug nuts were tampered with. So we know there was tampering going on. We just don't know what it. Supposedly there was somebody that was busted in the middle of the night messing with cars, but that's all hearsay. Don't know.
Right.
But yeah, the fuel thing was really sketchy. We're just really unsure how that come about.
Yeah, because even with ginormous jets, you wouldn't use that kind of fuel in that amount of time.
Right.
Yeah, it'd be
No, absolutely not.
Brad Tice had a.
There's guys running 4 barrels on 10-gallon tanks not running out. He's running a 2-barrel on 12-gallon tank and ran out. So something didn't add up.
You run alcohol, which you burn more of that than you would gas, and you didn't run out of gas. So,
Right.
Crazy.
Just to wrap up our talk on Blizzard Bash, you've been all over the place. You traveled with Tim to some of the early iterations of some of the top derbies in the country. Have you ever gone through a pit side repair process like what you saw at Blizzard Bash?
No, I've never run anywhere where you had 4 days of just brutal, work on the car, run the car, work on the car, run the car, and that is definitely different. The closest thing I've ever had to that was, and I'm sure you guys are probably not familiar with it all, but Crown Point, Indiana used to run all weekend in the summer, and they ran like 5 shows during one weekend. So you ran twice a day. You ran once Friday and then twice a day on Saturday and Sunday. Okay. And that's the closest I've ever come to anything like that. Of course, totally different rule setup and totally different. Everything was just totally different. But that's the closest I've ever seen of anything like that out there. And it's really freaking neat. And I just kind of want to say, as far as a lot of people were talking about how rough everything was going to be with being first year switchover and everything, I think Tim and Russ handled it flawlessly. There were little things to come up, but they were right there. They didn't blow any of it off. They handled all of it personally. I really appreciated that.
Absolutely.
Crown Point in Indiana is that big. It's a big swept bank oval. Late models run there quite a bit, right? Is that the one you're talking about?
There is a track separate from where they ran the demos at. But yes, you are correct. You're correct about the track.
We touched on last week and during Blizzard Bash, and you just touched on it too. The work that the crews put in at Blizzard Bash is just amazing. You touched on the guys that helped you guys, and it's just hopefully next year we're gonna try some stuff to try to get these guys a little recognition for what they do. But just to walk around the pits, and obviously you guys are you you were there, been there before as a crewman, and now as a driver. And I mean the time and energy put into these cars, rebuilding between rounds, is just. I mean, basically, you're building another Derby car to run the next heat. I mean, basically, when you come down to it,
precious few people realize is that all of those guys are burning 10 days worth of vacation to be there to help you.
Yeah.
So like you said, they definitely deserve the recognition because they're just as dedicated as the guy driving the car.
Is there anybody that you wanted to make mention of as we get closer to the second annual Turkey Derby on Saturday that helped with that derby or helped on your car out there in Topeka?
Well, help on the car, I'm afraid I'd forget somebody. I just want to thank the whole entire crew because there was a very large of guys that come together not only there but in the shop in the weeks ahead and so forth.
Sure.
A lot of guys that donated a lot of time and a lot of parts and everything to make all that work, and for that I'm very, very, very appreciative. Of course, everybody knows the wife pays for a large portion of all that, so gotta give a great big thanks there. But for the Turkey Derby, it's just absolutely everybody that's supporting it, whether it's a fan, sponsor. All of our sponsors have done really wonderful things for us, whether it be Derby Tees or Ski or Big A, Brock Gases. There's just OFR and Jeffy's Fab Farm, and you name it. Shots Dry Gas. Tons and tons and tons of people. Like I said, I hate to rattle through stuff because I'll forget something, but the last thing I want to say about Blizzard Bash is, there were a lot of people that were giving a lot of grief about that first round running this year, knowing that I had problems at Bash and knowing that it was the first round back out for that drivetrain and whatnot. And I can't thank Jeremy Gard enough. He made sure it got back together. He made sure I had it in time. He lives and breathes the sport. A lot of people don't give him credit for it, but he does. And that was absolutely nothing on his end. People were giving him grief about it, and he's definitely not responsible for my fuel system. His part was right, and I just wanted to mention that.
Awesome.
Absolutely. So, Jason, I know we're a little ways out, but is it a safe bet you'll be back at Bash for Cash this season or next season?
Oh yeah, we'll definitely be at Bash for Cash without a doubt. We've already got campsites reserved, parties in line. Make sure you guys come over and hang out with us and aggravate the locals at Pork Chop's Playground and eat some of our food, drink some of our drinks, and act retarded like the rest of us.
Absolutely. I think that place owes you a little bit. You've had a little bit of bad luck there, so hopefully you can shake that off this year.
Yeah, I hope so. I've got the last 2 years. I've got a third because of a broken flywheel and a second because of a broken engine. So I'm hoping that next year is my year to be done breaking stuff. So
there you go. You're just too hard on equipment, man.
It's funny. I've had absolutely everybody, including the officials, come up to me and say, you could win a lot more if you just lift your foot up a little bit. And it's like,
what fun's that?
What fun would that be?
Yeah, that's cool.
Second annual Memorial Turkey Derby scheduled for Saturday, November the 25th, 1:30 start time Eastern. It's going to be aired with DerbyTees.com on DerbyNation.tv. It's November the 25th in Greensburg, Indiana. Jason Koch working on that show. Great cause. Money going to help the Tygart family who's been left behind. So we're our thoughts out to them. I know it's one of those bittersweet derbies, but it's for a great cause. Fresh cars. Pro Mod's going for $5,000. There's going to be 40 plus of them on the track at one time. It's going to be absolutely insane. Jason, man, I appreciate you making some time and coming on the show and hanging out with us. I know this is a derby that's important to you guys, so we wanted to try and help get the word out.
We really appreciate it, guys.
For sure, man. Have a great Thanksgiving and good luck at the show.
Same to you guys. Talk to you soon.
See you later, Jason. There goes Jason Koch with the annual Tygert Memorial Turkey Derby coming up on Saturday. Wish those guys the best. It's a great cause.
I can't believe you're missing a derby.
I don't have a choice.
Oh, all right.
I don't get to pick on that one, unfortunately. The doctors have already said that you're staying home. until Monday. Don't go doing anything crazy. As was alluded to, the Bash for Cash coming up right around the corner. It is going to be May 25th through 27th. Bash for Cash 2018 is going to be at the Ross County Fairgrounds in Chillicothe, Ohio. Near Big Rock, $11,000 kicker class, new and old iron. Old iron bonus program. $3,000 bonus if they win it, or $1,500 of the highest paying old iron car if it's won by a metric car. The DerbyTees.com Turn Back the Clock class is got a metric bonus. That one's going to be paying $10,000 to win. There's a $3,000 bonus on the line if a metric car can win it, or $1,500 to the highest placing old iron car, to the highest placing metric if it's won by an old iron car. $10,000 to win DEC Headers Compact class, Frank the Tank Old School Wire class, full-size trucks, youth compact trucks. They all still have openings at $75 to enter. The 80s wire classes and the street stocks are full. Online, you can find more information, smashitderby.com. Once again, Bash for Cash 2018, Ross County Fairgrounds, Chillicothe, Ohio, www.smashitderby.com. And
good chance we'll be there, right, Chris?
Yeah, it's 97% or better. Capital City Carnage is also waiting in the wings here. We've got to fix that so people can read it. There we go. Capital City Carnage at the Kansas Expo Center in Topeka, Kansas, March 15th from 7 to 10 o'clock as the pit party and the heat draws will be on the 15th of March. The 16th at 7 o'clock, limited build heats 1 through 10. Top 2 advance. I know you were trying very hard to talk Tim into adjusting this in some way, shape, or form. We'll have to see what he goes for there. 10 heats, 100 cars max, 10 cars on the track at one time. Top 2 advance right now. On the 17th of March at 10 o'clock, limited build consolations 1 through 5, plus the top 2 advance. From that, along with the compact feature, which is paying $2,500 to win, which isn't too bad money for a compact feature. No. 7 o'clock to Extreme 2-man class, $2,500 win there. The modified feature paying $2,500 win, and limited world finals paying $10,000 plus a $5,000 Mad Dog award. Again, that is Sunday night.
And that modified heat last year was off the hook.
Yeah, it was great. And again, that's a 7 o'clock start on that one. So double session on the 17th. But that's going to be a fun one. Jump online for more details, capitalcitycarnage.com. The full itinerary agenda is already posted up there. And keep your eyes peeled. There's going to be Fantasy League tied to this one, too. I know everybody's shocked, but there's a...
The question is, can Teddy Papadopoulos repeat as Mad Dog?
I would sure think so. I think it'd mean a lot to him to do so.
Absolutely.
It was a lot of fun. That bumper ended up in New York. I think Cody Riley ended up getting the bumper that was off that car.
Cool.
If I remember correctly. May Mania, scheduled for the 18th and 19th, 2018, Salt Lake City, Utah. They're going to be following the same 2-day format as the Heber City Show last July.
You're right.
Stern Dirt Racing. I'm dragging. Stern Dirt Racing is overseeing that one, sterndirtracing.com. They want to extend a big thank you as well to all the drivers, supporters, partners, and especially the fans that helped make 2017 a successful year. They're looking forward to working with everybody again in 2018. Again, the season's going to start with that team show in the Salt Lake City Arena, that Spirit of 47 Arena at the State Fair Park in Salt Lake City. An amazing venue. And they're going to be creeping up on filling the thing because we had 6,000, I think, there. We were out there for Halloween Havoc, and the ends were still wide open. This show, as popular as it is, I'm sure it is going to be a home run, no question.
I can't remember if we mentioned last week or not, but Saturday night at Blizzard Bash, they had put down the extra set of bleachers off to our right.
Yeah.
And then it was full to the ceiling, and there was people standing. I think that's the most people I've ever seen in that arena.
I'd agree with that.
I'd like to ask Tim and Russ what the final count was for that night, but that's the most I've ever seen in that arena.
I heard unofficially 38,000, but I don't know if that's true. It was unofficially.
I heard unofficially it was 52, but I don't know. But it was great support. I mean,
93,000 plus 1980.
There you go. 93,287. But
Pontiac
Silverdome. Hulk Hogan. I watched that live.
I did not.
Yeah,
I did not.
6.
That was 1980. That was 1983, 85.
No, it was later. It was probably 80. Maybe 85 or 86.
Yeah, so I was somewhere around 4, something like that.
Youngster.
Somewhere in there. Crash Course New Year's Eve party. We had a great time Friday night with the indoor block party, and we've got a lot of new interest in New Year's Eve, which is always a good time. The deadline for tickets is Monday, So if people are going to get their tickets in, they need to get moving. Jump online. You got all weekend while you're out there in the woods hunting, stalking the deer and stuff. Pull up your smartphone, order your tickets. Brian just ordered his tickets.
I did.
And
I don't know why I had to pay for Josh's.
I
got mine too.
I don't know why he paid for his either because he's not coming.
No. So. I'm telling you though, in all sincerity, it's so nice to get together with a bunch of Derby people and just talk. You don't have to worry about the Derby. You ain't got to, you don't have to worry about getting your car ready or getting ready to run the feature or the heat or whatever. It's just nice to hang out and shoot the breeze. I mean, after I got home the other night from Blizzard Bash, I texted Bobby Brockway. And, we really didn't get a chance to talk to Bobby a whole lot. We hung out a little bit Saturday or Sunday after the show, but it's just nice to hang out with a bunch of Derby people and just shoot the breeze and hang out and tell Derby stories and listen to Derby stories. And I mean, we had people from all over last year, Iowa and Pennsylvania, obviously New York, Canada. But I mean, it's a great time. You're not going to find another deal better. I mean, open bar, a room, good food.
Podcast.
You can't beat it. So if you got nothing going on, come to New York, New Year's Eve, go wild, good time.
Your couples ticket gets you overnight passes, 2 passes to the 4 Hours Open Bar, 2 passes for the buffet. It gets you champagne toast at midnight, and it also gets you door prize tickets. And the first 2 door prizes going out the door this year are a Crown Victoria, a box style Crown Victoria, and I think we're doing a Tahoe, which is just not bad.
And I'm here to tell you that 3 hours of open bar, you can get whatever done you want to in that time. If you can't get it done in 3 hours, you're not a professional.
Brian ended up with some sort of glass mug. It was like a chalice.
The first year, it was huge. It was Ben got him for us, or I'm sorry, Brett got him for us after King's Old School.
That's right.
And they were just serving in those little plastic cups.
And you ended up getting that thing
so
full.
I walked up and I said, "Ma'am, funk, will you put it in there?" She's like, "Yeah, no problem," and she did.
I think Rhea's going to be working it this year, and she is a ball.
I don't know how many of those little plastic ones I had before that, but I know I only had 3 of those big mugs afterwards, and I was where I needed to be.
Yeah, you're in the spot. Perfect. Raffling off also in conjunction with that a 1975 Cadillac Talisman that was found here locally, and it is black and clean and beautiful, and people are going to want their hands on that. And that's going to be offered as a clean slate. It's not going to be built. You can do with it whatever you want. So
and
looking forward.
We already heard at least one member of Team America is going to be there. I believe
it sounds like all of them are getting talked into it, like it or not.
That's very cool.
That's
but
I'm
Brad
excited.
Definitely has a good time when he comes up. We have a lot of fun. And how cool would it be if he ended up with that Cadillac to
That'd
run
be scary. That would be cool, though. If that car ended up at Blizzard Bash, that would be cool.
That would be cool.
That's the only New York Cadillac that's running at Blizzard Bash.
We might even have to try to get a crash course sticker on it.
Yeah, well, he's got to win it first. Candice Jo is joining us online. Candice, how are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
We're doing good. Have you decompressed yet from all the excitement that was Blizzard Bash?
Oh, I'm trying. It's never ending. Just because we left the show doesn't mean the show's ended.
No, that is 100% true, and you are already busy planning out 2018 with the new company, an entirely new venture for this year, picking up the balance of the UD fair schedule, all the summer shows and everything going with it. Tell me about what's happening now.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. One of the big changes from changing it from Ultimate Derby was changing the name, and I decided to go with Domination Motorsports.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, that's the only thing that's changing with it. We still have our same crew, same rules, same shows. I am doing a couple different new shows this year. Those aren't officially announced yet, but something to keep in mind for drivers that there will be one for sure, possibly 2.
Nice.
That's very cool. So that was it's a change in name only. How fluid did last year go moving into it for the first time? The response looked like it was strong. The drivers all seemed to be pretty happy, and there was some phenomenal pictures that came out of it. And it sounds like the schedule is pretty much intact from last year going into 2018.
Yeah, 2017 was, for myself, being with Ultimate Derby was probably one of my funnest summers that we've had. There was a lot of guys that were back at every show, sometimes running 2 cars, and a lot of them, all of them were friends. And so the amount of dedication that they put in just to the summer shows was awesome. The big shows I'm not taking anything away from the big shows. Obviously, I'm involved with them, but to have something to do all summer and see all these guys all summer is just awesome.
Is Derby still fun?
Derbies are still fun. I still enjoy them. Even, I haven't been in a car for a year now, but, my passion is through the roof with it, and if I'm not in a car, the promoting side is where I want to be, that's for sure.
Okay, so this is the time when Brian should be jumping in with a great idea, but he missed the boat. At one of your shows, you've got to have a promoter's derby where you get to drive again, and you can get Sam in a car again, and you can talk like, I don't know, probably Fatty or maybe somebody to get in one of the cars and get some of these other promoters from around the country and come to one of your fair shows and put on just a promoter's derby. We'll even figure out a way to get Ben to build Josh a car so everybody can tee off on him first.
There you go. I think that even sounds like a good class for like Blizzard Bash or Carnage or something.
That'd be cool.
Okay.
No, I was just. Candice obviously is doing a great job, and she took care of UD last year. She did the promoting. And I was just waiting until we were done talking about that because I wanted to talk to her a little bit about Blizzard Bash. The amazing videos she did again for Blizzard Bash. Every year, I think she takes as the challenge to try to make as many people cry as she can in the stands.
Yes, I agree.
Again, your videos were so awesome this year. The one you did for Sam was really, really, really cool. And obviously, there you showed a little bit of, what Sam means to you as a friend and as a mentor, but how hard was it for you to do that video? You must have had a lot of emotions going on as you were making that video.
Honestly, I had been thinking about it for a couple of months as to what I was going to do, kind of talked to our crew a little bit about what we were going to do, and I first started out with just kind of doing like a recap of, all of the years of Blizzard Bash, but then as I started in on that was like way too much. Before I started working with Sam, I was the drunk one in the crowd, so I couldn't think of everybody who won before I started working there. So to go back that far and get all the information was too overwhelming. So then I thought, why don't we just give them a send-off? That would be way more to the heart than, anything that happened in the past, whatever else. So I got together with Nate, one of the production guys, and said, hey, this is what I want to do. Can you help me? And he was all for it. So getting out there in front of 10,000 plus people for sure was probably the hardest thing I've ever done. And to send off him he's like one of my best friends. He's taught me everything I know on the promotion side of things. So that whole video, that whole experience right there, like I said, was the hardest thing I've had to do. And the people that jumped on to talk in the video was awesome. You don't know what you're going to get out of people. And literally, we didn't tell anybody what to say. They all said it themselves.
That's cool. I think you hit another home run with the drinking glass video again as well. The first one you did 2 years ago, that's got like 3,000 or 4,000 views or 5,000 views on Facebook or on YouTube. And it was just, that's like the perfect Derby song. It really is. And then all this, all the pictures and stuff. It's just, you definitely hit a home run every year with the videos you do. And, I'm glad to know that, you're going to be around and hopefully part of your continued duties with, Bash for Cat or Blizzard Bash will be making those videos, because that's absolutely a highlight of the show. I always look forward to Saturday night and seeing what you've done for the videos. So hopefully they continue, because they're truly just awesome to watch.
Yeah, the videos, not going to lie, I usually wait till the last minute to do them because I have so many other things to do. But to actually sit down at my computer and go through every picture that people send in, or, a lot of them will send pictures in a story with why they sent that picture in. Granted, nobody on the big screen gets to see what the story of that picture actually meant, but when I'm watching the video, I remember that story that they sent in. So that's really cool, the amount of people that send them in. I wish that we could feature everybody on the video, but luckily we have 2 shows now that we can get them up on. And the drinking class, when that song first came out, we just happened to find it on YouTube. I had never heard of it. It became a huge success, and literally to this day, that was 3 or 4 years ago when that was up there. Literally to this day, at least once a month, somebody sends me a Snapchat or something of that song with hashtag Blizzard Bash or whatever, you know. So I thought with this being the last year of Ultimate Derby being with it, it was the perfect song to, you know, go out with.
Yeah. It was, like I said, it's definitely, you know, it's a great song and great videos, and hopefully they can continue, and, you know, that's definitely a highlight of the show every year when we go out there.
Yeah, that's one thing that, you know, when Smash had asked me to come back and work with them, that's one thing Tim mentioned was, you're still going to do these videos, right? I said, yeah, I'll still do those videos. Like I said, it's something cool for myself to see that up on the big screen, or when I get home and people at home were watching and they said, hey, we got to see that video. That was really cool.
Was that an easy yes? I mean, was that an easy yes when after everything was all said and done at Blizzard Bash, when they approached you and said, hey, would you be interested in coming back in 2018 and working on Capital City Carnage and Blizzard Bash at points forward? Was that an easy yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, Tim caught me before the event even started and just wanted to make sure, you know, that everything was going to be good going to the future. And honestly, I have enough heart and soul into this show that I just can't walk away from it.
Right. They're going to have to pry you off it, right?
Right.
Chris and I were talking earlier. I feel like Saturday night this year was the most people I've ever seen in that building. I mean, obviously, you've been there from the beginning. Do you feel the same, that was Saturday night this year was the most we've ever had in there?
Yeah, when I walked out onto the track, of course, you know, standing there in the entrance of the track, shaking drivers' hands and just looking around, I couldn't believe, you know, the first year that they sold out was awesome a couple years ago, but I really feel like Saturday night was way more people, and to look up into the crowd and, you know, all the way up to the ceiling, and you just see people and all the way around. That was awesome.
When the lights were off and you were down there talking about Sam, could you see up into the stands at that point, or was it too dark?
I looked at the ground.
Yeah, it's easier that way. I've found in moments like that, eye contact is not a good thing. Just look at the
You
ground.
look at the ground during the national anthem up in the booth when they show all the pictures of the Derby cars and little kids that are hanging out with them. And then during the memorial video, we're all looking below the microphones.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody's looking at anything.
Yeah,
it's tough.
that's funny. Yeah, when I did that, you know, Sam kind of approached me and said, hey, you know, you have to do the points presentation this year, girl, because, you know, it was your shows this summer. He was only at a couple of them, so he said, you have to do the points presentation. And I thought, oh, okay, I don't know if I can do this, but I'll try. Luckily, you know, they were 5 guys out there that I literally had been with all summer while they ran. So I told myself, if I just focus on them, I'll be fine. Mm-hmm. But in the back of my mind, I knew as soon as that was over, I had to roll right into Sam's deal. And that's one of the main reasons I went dark, so that I didn't have to see everybody staring at me.
Right.
So, I mean, I on my way home, when I stopped at a truck stop, I got on Derby Nation to watch it. I had a girl video it from me from the crowd, but I wanted to see what it looked like at home. Luckily, they had enough cameras around that as I spun in a circle, they could follow me. So it looked like I was looking, but I really wasn't.
I grabbed Sam afterwards and talked to him. I said, that looked like it caught you a little off guard. He goes, oh, yeah, definitely wasn't, you know, fully prepared for that. But, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, there's no doubt that, you know, Sam has put his heart and, you know, and soul into that show, and obviously you have too. So, I mean, that was really nice that, you know, you guys kind of could share that moment out there. And it was really cool. You know, it was a special night. It was really cool to see.
Yeah, that like I said, I wanted to do something. I didn't intend to make people cry. I knew I was going to cry. I knew when I seen the video the first time, I had only seen half of it, and I knew it wasn't going to be good. I didn't know how he was going to take it. He tries not to show emotion, but I stood back behind him while he watched the video, and I seen a tear go down his face. I knew I was done.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Now we're moving on to Capital City Carnage. Is there any chance that the Mad Dog is going to get the same style trophy he got last year? Because that was definitely one of the coolest trophies I saw all season.
I would assume so. I still have the blueprints for it. That was something that I came up with on a whim because I realized that I didn't order a Mad Dog trophy when I ordered the rest of the trophies. And and Teddy obviously deserved the Mad Dog 100%. And to hear him afterwards say how much he thought that trophy was awesome, I think we can do something like that again.
Yeah, that was. I mean, that was just it's one of those unique trophies. I mean, everybody loves the big trophies but I mean, that is a unique trophy. You know what I mean? I mean, there's.
Well, that's kind of what I was going for too. If you're a Derby driver and you're running these big shows and you've been running for a long time, you have shelves of trophies for miles, it seems like. And so for something that you could go home and hang on a wall or hang on your shop, so that that's kind of the whole big gist of the big checks.
Yep.
Something that is different than a 4-post trophy.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Coming back to the 2018 schedule and running the 2017 UD schedule moving forward with Domination Motorsports, the year-end points recognition still going to be held at Blizzard Bash the way that it has in the past?
It's something that I need to talk about with Tim and Russ. I would still like to do it just because, most of the drivers that are going to be running it are going to be at Blizzard Bash. More or less, it's going to turn into the Derby party. The Iowa Derby party will turn into a banquet, and they'll get recognized at the banquet as well. Right
on. That's not a bad move. You said this was the most fun year that you've had, even though you haven't been able to get into the Derby car. And I remember from running with the series and stuff up this way, it is neat, even though you're in the thick of the grind, to be part of that when you're seeing everybody on a regular basis. What was the driver response like the longer you got into the season? Did anybody try and push the issue? Were guys going through tech inspection easier? How much of that camaraderie bridged over from being friendships into business respect?
Well, I've made it clear from the day I started being on the promotion side of it. All these guys I consider great friends, and most of them I talk to on a daily basis.
Sure.
But they know, once they go through that, get their driver's band and sign in that they're just a number. And they know once they go through our inspection, it's the same way. And after they win, I hope we can sit down and have a beer together. That's basically how I treat it. I want it to be fun, but it's still business as well, and they know it. Of course, you always have somebody that's going to be like, Candice, or something that they're going to try and get away with. But in the end, they know the reason I'm there is the reason that they're there. And if I wasn't there, they wouldn't be running. So, like I said, when they pull through, they're just a number. And afterwards, it's back to the friendship. So that's kind of how I like to keep it, and they're all okay with it. And when they go through tech, further down the year, it's the same techs at every show, so they know what they can and can't do. Obviously, if they try to push something every once in a while, but nobody usually fights or complains or does anything because they know the techs have the final say.
Makes that part easy. The season. Where's the season kick off next year?
Actually, I have something new this year because Capital City Carnage is not an Ultimate Derby show or now Domination Motorsports. Last year, that kicked off our point series as a double point show. So everybody that ran Capital City Carnage last year in the Limited Weld and the Modified started out with double points.
Sure.
Because I don't have that this year, I do have a new show coming up. And I don't have the final details out. Hopefully it'll be this week, but it is called the Frostbuster, and it will be in April.
Cool. Well, I'll be looking forward to seeing some more information on that one as that gets a little bit closer. We talked about Sam. We talked about your techs. We talked about the litany of drivers and at risk of leaving anybody out, you probably are hesitant to name names, but I want to give you the opportunity, just like we do everybody, to mention the folks that help make it possible if you wish to.
Oh, geez, I don't know. Like I said, I'd hate to leave somebody out, but Sam for sure.
Right.
Like I said, I've said it a million times. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be in the position I am now. My techs, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. They're probably some of the best techs you'll ever go through inspection with. Just our whole crew. My dad, for sure, we work together every day, so him to allow me to do this, to be gone, multiple times a year for running these shows, There's not many jobs out there that would allow you to do that. So, and most importantly, the drivers. If it wasn't for the drivers, obviously we wouldn't have shows. So, like I said earlier on Facebook to somebody, with their support and my passion, I think Domination Motorsports can go far.
Awesome. Well, we certainly wish you the best. Keep up the great work. I mean, you had a great season last year, and you're already adding shows, so that means that everybody's starting to take notice of what you've been up to, and the drivers are respecting what you're up to. So all that stuff is only going to lead to more great things. We certainly wish you the best.
Thanks, guys.
We'll catch up with you soon.
Yep, sounds good.
See you, Candice.
Yep, bye.
There goes Candice, getting ready to launch Domination Motorsports for this year. It was one of the, as she said, it was one of the changes that sort of had to come along with the transition with Ultimate Derby. The name changed, and so she's got a new name for it and got a new show, The Frostbuster. I like the name.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's. Do you remember? I stumbled across a list of rules in my garage. It was a stack of rules, it was like this thick, and it was dated for the Saturday after Thanksgiving, from like 2004, 2005. Okay. Yeah, it was all the rules. I still had copies of the rules kicking around.
I don't think there was rules, was there?
There was copies printed.
That was a fun show.
Oh, it was something, wasn't it? It was a good time.
It was a fun show.
That was
because what did you had 4 cylinders, right? And then like a junk run, and then it was the mod class.
Yeah,
that mod class. They got after it.
That was fun. That was the first time that I'd ever gotten into promotion as a whole, and had to really oversee a lot of the structure of stuff. And it was the Snyder boys that came in and helped with tech, and you and I were working on the Derby itself in terms of just getting the word out. And when they said mod cars, I was thinking in my mind what we saw in terms of the mod class at Waterloo, and then the Cadillac came through with one bumper stacked on top of another. Paul Stevens came in with and it's like, we're not in Kansas anymore. This is actually, we're in Kansas. That's the difference here. We're not in New York anymore. This is very different interpretations of everything that we're looking at.
I forgot about that. And that car didn't last very long. He was
no,
one of the first ones out.
But Ben had, what was it? Frank Palmer had trouble, and Ben got in the car, and then
Ben had a car. Frank didn't. Ben had built a raffle car. Frank won the raffle car. So they were both in it.
Right, and that was as legit as it could be, and no one would believe me at all. Torrey Mustarella came there, tried to get there from Buffalo.
He was there.
Yeah.
I think he had a Cadillac, and he'd welded the body of the frame.
It's fine.
He called me. He's like, "Can I weld the body of the frame?" I'm like, "Yeah, go ahead." I didn't care. It was a good show. I miss stuff like that.
It's been a while since we've come across bodies welded to frames, I think, hasn't it?
You want to put a show on this year?
I don't. No, I don't. I've got my hands full with more than enough. Well, hang on. Pump the brakes. Pump the brakes on that part. Slow down.
Your crash course.
Slow down. Slow down. Do I want to put a show on this year? No. I don't want to put a show on by myself this year. No, I don't. Why are you looking at me like that?
Just looking. Did you see a thing on Facebook where somebody brought up an old post of Mike Decker's about a show he wants to put on? That would be cool. Old school builds, Imperials allowed.
Yes. Yes to all that. Yes to all that.
I'm going to be interested to see how many Imperials show up at Bash for Cash.
It'll be a talking point, no question. It'll be a talking point and seeing what they can do.
I told you guys or not. I was in the pits at Blizzard Bash. I was talking with Steve Siopa, and Uncle Jimmy was there, and Chad Markley was there.
Go on.
And they were talking about Imperials and how they thought all teams at Blizzard Bash should be allowed a choice between an 03 or a subframe Imperial.
Now, why not a full frame Imperial though?
Because they think I can't answer that question because they
think different. They think different than we do. I'll give you that.
Well, no, I don't know. I don't know why they didn't say full frame, but they said subframe Imperials.
I see.
So, but I mean, how cool would that? Go to Blizzard Bash next year.
Yes.
See 67 to 68 Imperials.
I want to see 61 to 66 Imperials out there. Is what I want to see.
Can you
but
imagine?
It would be cool.
With the rules they have out there,
I still don't think that it would be it wouldn't be the same as the old iron Cadillacs because you don't have the frame to support it. Yeah, you can tie the cage in great, and there's a bunch of great builders, but it's not the same.
I think as long as because on the subframers you can tie your frame to the subframe, so that's not going to go anywhere. So you run it the first time, and it's probably going to bend behind the A-arms. Because there's no way you're going to bend it in front of it, and there's no way you're going to bend it at the A-arm.
Jesse Hoffmeister's car, it's going to bend right there.
So
you're going to use the down tubes from your dash bar to hold the back of the subframe in.
So you're going to pull it down, and you're going to plate it right there where it's going to bend, and then it's not going to bend anymore.
What if it does? That meant you did a stroke of business.
Yes. That meant you hit something really, really hard, like a concrete wall.
Or an 03 Ford.
Oh, there were some 03 Fords getting junked out there this year. We saw numerous shots where somebody would hit them on a corner, and it would just accordion.
Yeah, off center. Somebody who can tell us all about all this and more, Jared Brown, nicknamed the Champ. Jared has a unique way of dealing with the pressure of getting ready for Blizzard Bash. And I'm not against it. Some people smoke. Some people have bad habits. Some people pace. As I understand, Jared, in the line staging to go in amid all the rain out there with the thunder of the engines rumbling around you, you took a nap before pulling into the arena.
Yeah, that's right.
That's the way to do it right there.
I've seen my brother do that in the modified before.
Sleep off the stress and refocus. So how was Blizzard Bash?
It was definitely something else, nothing that I've ever done before.
Now, how old are you? And you can feel free to lie if you need to cover yourself because you weren't old enough to drive at Blizzard Bash.
I was 17 when I ran, but I'm turned 18 on Friday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
He's calling from work right now. He told everybody that he's got to take a break right now. You guys are going to have to be in charge on your own because I got to go do this major interview right now.
It's not every day you can talk to Chris Martin.
Actually, we talk on a regular basis. It's not that special for him, but he's going to make work at least believe it.
Cool.
So Jared ran on the black and gold team in the limited world ranks, and we talked about the four cars that they brought. They were certainly challenged to put them all together, but the cars held up for you nice. Everybody drove hard, and I think you guys gained a little bit of respect out there.
I was going to say definitely. I was going to say, it's just different. That first heat that we came out, a bunch of local Minnesota guys like us, we weren't ready for anything like that. And I was going to say, coming out, the flag drops, you have 2 seconds to look around, and then everything's going so fast.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I think after that, a bunch of us got a little exposure back for Concy and worked a little bit better as a team, watching out for each other and stuff.
I'd agree with that. And you guys were unique at DFC. Darren Brown doing a lot of the fabrication on all those cars, a lot of homemade stuff on all of them. It held up fine. And one of the big benefits of those cars were the bumpers and the design of the bumper, which was really cool. I don't know how much you want to get into that leg of it, but having a lot of homemade parts going up against and holding your own should give you a lot of confidence in what you guys are producing up there in Minnesota.
I was going to say, yeah, just going from what Darren started with, a couple of the bumpers he made for Mitch Carlson and Matt Schilling a couple of years ago when he first started out, those bumpers worked perfect. Doing what they're supposed to is taking a lot of pressure off the frame. That quarter-inch skin crushed into that point. And for what I was doing hitting-wise out there, I was expecting the car to look a lot worse, but I think that bumper did a lot for helping.
That's Blizzard Bash. Everybody always says, I thought the car was going to look a lot worse after as hard as I was hitting, but if you put it together the right way, it holds up. It holds up just fine. In terms of the rest of the stuff, everything on that car was basically built at home, correct?
Yeah, I was going to say, cradle was built at the house and the bumper, and then I borrowed some parts from a couple of buddies around, so I was going to say, it's definitely interesting. Darren kind of sits there and craps himself, seeing how his parts are going to hold up going against all the stuff that goes down there.
Well, he doesn't have to be too nervous. The stuff seemed to hold up all right. How much is left of the cars that you brought home? Are you going to try and patch those together and run them again, or are they all bound for the scrapyard?
I was going to say I felt like a little bitch, kind of. I was going to say I went and first heat I drove the car back to the trailer, and then the tranny got hot during Consi, but I drove that in the trailer the next morning and drove it back out when I got back to my house. So I was going to say, I think everybody on the team is going to try to patch stuff up and bring him to Austin, Minnesota.
When's that?
Going to say, not sure when that is, but
okay.
Paul Nielsen's kind of the ropes with that. It's the breast cancer awareness demo.
Okay, cool. Sure. I think we had some photos sent in on that show a couple years back. But yeah, that's one that we're a little familiar with. You guys going to be making the trip to Winter Slam this year?
I was going to say, yeah, it's not too far of a drive for us. So.
Right. It'd be good to see you guys up there. Winter Slam coming up right around the corner here on the. I know you're going to laugh at it, but it is actually right around the corner. We're only about 3 months away from Winter Slam. That one is full, February the 10th. It's in St. Peter, Minnesota. Full size weld class, no wagons, 35 car max, 2,000 to win, 1,350, 750, 500, 300 through the top 5. 80s chain class, 35 cars max, 1,000 to win, 750, 400 in the top 3. Light build trucks, 35 max, 1,000, 600, 300 through the top 3. All these one and dones are paying back through the top 10. Compact, 108 inches and under, 35 car max, 1,000 to win, 600, 300 through the top 3. And again, paying top 10. Each class, heavy hitter, $300 in a trophy. Best paint, $100 in a plaque. Longest tow, $100. Second longest tow, $75. Best Western Mankato has rooms available. $99 for a double, $109 for poolside. 507-625-9333. If you have logistical questions, you can get a hold of Randy Wasowski and Jeremy Ertman, 507-327-1944 or 507-525-4290. And that one pairs up quite nicely with the Florida Southern National Showdown, February the 10th. Two-man team derby, 20 teams from all over the country, as far west as California, as far north as New York. Josh Decker's going to be running out there, 20 teams from all over the place. Going to be descending on the Hernando County Fairgrounds, 6436 Broad Street, Brooksville, Florida. Tickets and event info are available online, hernandofairgrounds.com. Turning our attention back to one Jared Brown.
I was going to say, it sounds like I got put through to a voicemail there.
Yep, almost. We gotta squeeze everything in before we get past the hour. So we just wanted to jam that stuff in, and now we're clear for the rest of the way. Real quick, the Blizzard Bash experience as a whole. You guys were out there, held your own. Is there any likelihood that you would make the jump up into the qualifying bracket, or are you content to stay with limited weld?
I don't know. There's been talk about it. I mean, either way you go, there's going to be great drivers in every class, and like I said, just talking with everybody around here, it's like from what we're used to at a county fair, there's going to be one or two cars that are built crazy, and you go down to Kansas, and I mean, everything's built like that. You don't expect to see some of the stuff that you see down there. It's just nuts for build-wise. So, I mean, I don't know. There's been talk about either jumping limited weld or qualifying with the group that went down. So,
I feel like Minnesota can hold its own pretty much anywhere. I mean, we go to Minnesota every year for, well, up to this point, we've gone to Minnesota every year for Winter Slam, and that they're always great drivers, great builders, great show. You guys have been out there a few times, summertime, great builder, Sam Bando, Mitch.
I can't even keep track of the number of towns we've been in Minnesota.
And I mean, it's just, I feel that Minnesota doesn't get the due that it should in the Derby world, because there's some great builders and great drivers that come out of Minnesota. So, I mean, I definitely think that Minnesota is one of the hot spots for Derby and in the Midwest. I mean, people may not think of it right offhand, but I mean, we've been around a lot of places. And I've never went to a Minnesota Derby and thought, man, this is boring, or this isn't a good show. I mean, Winter Slam is one of our favorite places to go. So I think they can obviously can run anywhere and compete anywhere.
Think about this in your lifetime now. You've now been to Minneapolis, which you wouldn't have been to for any other reason. Been to Garden City. We've been to Albert Lee. We've been to I think we were at Bird Island.
Yep.
We were in Mandan, or excuse me, in Wadena, and did we say Albert Lee? I thought there was so at least 5 cities in Minnesota because of Demolition Derby. It just doesn't make any sense, really.
And every one of them has been a good derby.
Yes,
I mean, you've seen good derby in it every.
You need to get your yearly dose of turnouts and window nets.
Oh, man. The phone's breaking up. I think I'm going to lose you. I don't mind the turnouts. I used to run Oregon-style turnouts, and I thought they sounded awesome.
But
I was going to say, I felt like an outsider at Kansas. I was going to say me and a couple other guys from Minnesota had turnouts, but I mean, that was it. There's probably like 4 of us out of the whole pack.
yeah, I think the window nets look cool, but if there's a fire, man, I'd like to be able to get out that window quick. But, it's kind of a Minnesota thing, so it is what it is.
I was going to say, it is nice getting out the window. I was going to say, the only reason why a bunch of us family-wise started running was just seeing people. Some of the way some of the cars get bent and they blow out at the box or something crazy. I mean, front ends are right up helmet level, and you see people taking their helmet on a bumper or something. It's not cool.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Want to avoid that.
Yeah.
You got to wrap your helmet in bubble wrap like Eric Moulet did. It's an added safety feature.
I had an extra soft pillow taped to my driver's door. I was ready to go to sleep on that track.
Absolutely.
You can't afford to, man. It is what struck you about the pace down there and the builds and the experience going through tech inspection? What surprised you more than what you'd seen? I mean, you're a pretty avid follower of Demolition Derby. Not much can catch you off guard, I wouldn't think.
No, I was gonna say. I mean, I don't know. Just the whole time going down there. I mean, I was nervous about stuff and I was rushing last minute. But I think the biggest part is that I just had fun with everybody that's down there. I was gonna say. I got to bullshit with Ben for a little bit when we were going through tech, and I mean, like I said, I'm not used to anything that's really that involved with every driver. So I mean, it's fun, and then going out on the track's a lot different than I thought it was going to be, but it was a great track. I was going to say I had fun. I was trying to junk the car while I still could. So,
in what sense was the track different? What do you mean by that?
I was going to say, just I don't know. It seems like a lot of places around me just. Tracks are always way over watered. You can't get any traction on. I mean, like that track is instant traction.
Oh yeah, there's no problem.
Yeah, it's either reverse or you're going forward. I mean, like it grabs.
Yeah, it's like driving down the road.
What night was it when the tires were squealing? Was it Saturday night? I noticed it like there was tires squealing all night long. I think it was Saturday.
Saturday and Sunday. I don't think they put any water down on the track on Sunday. It was pretty hard.
They tore it up and watered it a little bit and then packed it back in because I'm like, why did they touch the track? But it worked out fine. But I think it was late Saturday night. We heard them just out there squealing. It was awesome.
Well, I'm excited to hear that you guys are thinking about coming back. That's definitely cool. You guys held your own. Did you pick up any build tips? Did you learn anything from looking at the cars that were in your class?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess it's just a lot. We were talking as a group just about type of a car people are bringing down, what's best to the rules, and then I was going to say one of the other teammates, Charlie, it was nice. Mike Worth came over and was giving some tips on frame repair with their fix-it plates. So
that's cool.
I was going to say it's definitely nice to get input from all the other drivers from different classes of what they have to say. So
very cool. Well, is there anybody that you wanted to make mention of? I know Darren built a lot of the parts that went into that car, and it was a big family effort getting the cars together, finished, and down there. Is anybody that you wanted to make mention of?
I was just going to say, big one is Darren, just a shout-out just for the parts and giving us a team name to run under. I'd say my dad and just the rest of my family, my girlfriend, everybody that helps get the car together and puts up with all the BS that goes with it, so...
Darren Brown, DFC. He's been a friend of the show for a long time, and it's good to see that those parts got down there and he earned a little bit of the credit that he deserves. He does a lot of stuff for us behind the scenes, and we greatly appreciate the contributions he's made to Crash Course. And now it was really rewarding to see all the time and effort and research that he put into putting those parts together come to pass in a successful way when they were under the hood of your car, on the front of your car, wrapped around the transmission of your car when your team was down there at Blizzard Bash and they held their own. And I'm really, really looking forward to what next year brings, because I know he's going to go back to the drawing board. He's going to make the parts better. You guys are going to go back to the drawing board and make the cars better. And if you come back out for that limited world bracket or the qualifying bracket, I think you guys are going to be turning some heads.
Sounds good.
Well, I appreciate you coming on the show. I know you got to get back to work. We'll catch up with you soon, man. Have a great Thanksgiving.
Sounds good. Thank you. You guys too.
We'll see you later. There goes.
Bye.
Let's see. Just a little bit too far away. Just a little bit too far away. So there goes Jared Brown, the champ. This is his nickname on Facebook. Great kid.
Very well spoken for
yes,
18-year-old.
Yep.
Whoa! Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Can't figure out why they just spiked to red, but it did. Well, next week, I can't guarantee we're going to be here next week. I'm not sure what we're going to be feeling like, but stay tuned through the course of the weekend, as we might have to shuffle it to Tuesday. But
or take a week off.
We'll certainly have.
Don't push yourself.
Never. I never push myself. I'm always kicked back with my feet up and relaxed.
Drink a lot of water and relax.
Do you remember? Don't even get me started. You remember what I told you earlier? That based on our show schedule, dating back to when it is, we took 2 weekends off a year. Mm-hmm. Now might not be the time to start.
Well, have we taken a week off yet this year?
I think so. I think we've taken one.
Well, you might be due for one.
Maybe. We'll have to see. Depending on how everything goes tomorrow. That'll be the big thing, big teller. But I think that's going to do it for this edition of the Crash Course number 206 in the books. Appreciate Jason Koch coming on and talking a little bit about that Tygart Memorial Turkey Derby that's coming up on Saturday, 1:30 Eastern. Start time on DerbyNation.tv. Domination Motorsports poised and ready to attack the 2018 season with Candice Jo, and then Jared Brown talking about maybe moving Team DFC up to the qualifying bracket, if not at least excited to make another run at it in the limited weld bracket coming up next year for Blizzard Bash, but I'm sure we'll hear from him and that entire DFC team before that. So for Brian and all the folks here at Finger Lakes 1, that's going to wrap it up for us here at the North Park Building at Academy Square. We'll see everybody right back here again at some point next week.
The Crash Course Live is presented by Smash It Demolition Derby, who host Bash for Cash, Blizzard Bash, and Capital City Carnage. Online at smashitderby.com. And Stirring Dirt Racing, host of Maymania's team show at the Golden Spike Arena in Ogden, Utah. Online at stirringdirtracing.com. Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel and Derby Inc. Magazine. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, recorded live at the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York.